What's up, everybody? With Jim Carrey's birthday being today, I figured what better video to do than my top 10 favorite movies of his. I really don't have much of an intro, so let's just hop right into it. At number 10, we have The Number 23. Not necessarily a highly regarded movie of his, but something that I saw in high school that I always thought was a great change of pace for his filmography. In my head, Jim Carrey was the funny guy, not a guy who would give dark performances, but I absolutely love this twisty thriller. I totally understand people who don't enjoy it, or say that the ending is predictable with the reveals and everything. Looking back on it, yeah, it's fairly obvious to see coming, but when I first saw this movie, I was totally blown away. You've got Jim Carrey as an animal control officer who his wife buys him a book for his birthday called The Number 23, and the more he reads it, the more he realizes that it mirrors and mimics his life and sends him into a spiral of obsession with the theory of the number 23, where it just pretty much shows up in every facet of life. Everything adds up to this number one way, even if you have to kind of find a contrivance to get there. It's got some great performances, it's got some great atmosphere. I love how intense the investigation into this mystery starts to become for him. It's just such a totally different movie than you would expect for him, especially at this time. To me, it's definitely underrated. I've always enjoyed this. At number 9, we have Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Definitely the most depressing movie on this list, but it is so fantastical and so surreal. You've got Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet as this couple who are on the outs of their relationship after hitting a rocky patch. Jim Carrey finds out that Kate Winslet has had this procedure done where all of her memories of him are erased. So he decides to undergo the same procedure and realizes a little too late that those are cherished moments and he'd rather live with the pain and the memories of her than having lived a life without her at all. Once again, it's got some great performances, especially Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet. It's got a great cast, and it's full of these trippy moments, but it's smart to focus on the themes of love and relationship and the pain that comes with it. As a kid, I was never crazy about this movie, but the older I get, the more I grow to appreciate and love this movie. I really enjoy that it focuses on the darker and more fucked up side of relationships, while also still having some heart and some more endearing moments about what it means to love, even with the pain that comes with that. At number 8, we have The Mask, one of 3 Jim Carrey movies that came out in 1994 that launched him to superstardom, and funnily enough, all 3 of those movies are on this list. This is just a great, oddball, offbeat, comic book superhero type story. You've got Jim Carrey as this hapless bank worker who comes upon this mythological mask that grants him the powers of a live action cartoon character. And there is absolutely no better casting than Jim Carrey in that role. The things that he is able to do physically and how he can manipulate his face and his voice, it is just so absurd, but so perfect. You've got Cameron Diaz here in her first role, and she is great as this seductress lounge singer who has kind of 2 sides to her going on. It's just got a lot of great laughs, a lot of great gags, some fun action moments. It is all around a great time. You cannot go wrong with this Jim Carrey classic. At number 7, we have Me, Myself, and Irene. Speaking of Jim Carrey comedy classics, you got him here as a state trooper who develops a split personality. You got one side who is the timid pushover, and when he finally can't take it anymore, his mind creates this alter ego of Hank, who is just a tolerates no shit kind of asshole. This is the re-team of him with the Farrelly brothers after the massive success of another movie that we will talk about in a little bit. There's just so many great laughs throughout, especially anytime the Hank personality comes out. You know you're in for something wild or something funny, or both most oftentimes. I like the aspect of him having these 3 giant black suns. His chemistry with Renee Zellweger is great. She's a blast here. It's just a good movie with some great laughs and a really strong message of standing up for yourself and what is right and never just letting people walk over you because you ruin your own life for the sake of someone else's comfort. This is a comedy classic from my childhood that I laugh my ass off every time I watch it. At number 6, we have probably his most underrated movie in my book, and that is The Majestic. Criminally underseen from the masterful director Frank Darabont, who made The Green Mile, Shawshank Redemption, The Mist. You've got Jim Carrey here as a Hollywood screenwriter in the 1950s who gets blacklisted due to accusations of ties to communism. He ends up getting into a car accident, losing his memory, and winds up in this small town where he is mistaken for a long-lost war hero. This is just such a sweet and heartwarming movie. It's not necessarily a comedy like you would expect out of him, especially at the time. It's more of a drama about him regaining his memory and his sense of purpose as this town starts to come back together after getting this missing piece that they felt like they had lost. I just love all the aspects of it. This town that wants so badly for this hero to return. Jim Carrey connecting with the war hero's dad as well as the high school sweetheart. And I never hear anyone talking about this movie, and it is an absolute shame. I think this movie is tremendous. At number 5, we have another one of Jim Carrey's 1994 breakout hits with Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. And this has always been, to me, a laugh-a-minute riot. I saw this movie when I was like 5 or 6 years old, and I've always enjoyed it. I love the eccentricness of Jim Carrey and the oddball personality that he has and his antics. As I started to get older and started to understand some of the jokes better, it became even funnier to me. And Jim Carrey is just perfect as this over-the-top pet detective looking for Snowflake, the missing mascot of the Miami Dolphins. There's just so many iconic moments and funny lines in this movie that I quote to this day. I like that there's a mystery aspect with him trying to solve who these criminals are that would kidnap a dolphin. There's a lot of fun side characters in here. I was already a big fan of Scream at the time, so seeing Courtney Cox in this just made me love her even more. And there's just so many memorable sequences. The Shark Tank at the party, him visiting the mental asylum, him visiting Ray Finkel's home. There's just too many to name. This movie is just non-stop laughs all the way throughout, and it showed the world Jim Carrey's comedic genius. And at number 4, we have his funniest movie from 1994, and that is Dumb and Dumber. A movie that is so genuinely smart with how fucking stupid it is. Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels are just the perfect combo of these idiots who have about a brain cell and a half between them as they make their way to Aspen, Colorado to return a suitcase unknowingly full of ransom money. Another movie packed with a ton of hilarious lines and moments. I feel like this whole list is just me repeating how funny I find his movies to be. The Farrelly brothers had a real hot streak going on from this to the early 2000s, along with things like Kingpin and There's Something About Mary. They were just at the height of the comedy world. This movie is iconic for a reason. I never really cared for the sequel that they did. I thought it was way too late to go back and visit it. I get mild laughs out of the stupid prequel that they made. I don't think it's a particularly good movie. But none of those compare to this. There's the reason why it's such a high watermark for Jim Carrey, and it's considered one of his absolute best still to this day. And he was a breakout star for a reason, especially with how wildly different these three characters from 1994 that he portrayed in all three of these movies. At number 3, we have Liar, Liar, the comedy that came out when it felt like Jim Carrey was at his absolute peak. Another non-stop comedy classic that I absolutely die laughing at several different parts throughout. Jim Carrey's manic energy just works so well here, especially off of the people that he plays with, like the kid, as well as Cary Elwes, or Elwes, I never know how to pronounce his name. It's just a great comedy with a huge amount of heart and a really nice message that's super simple. Don't lie. Which Jim Carrey can't do after his son makes a birthday wish that his overworked lawyer dad couldn't lie for 24 hours straight. Not to repeat myself, but once again, there's just some great one-liners that are so quotable, so many funny jokes. The courtroom scenes especially are hilarious, especially the "I'm kicking my own ass" There's not much new that I'm saying here that I haven't said for his previous comedies. I just think this is one of the ones that does it the funniest. It's a great performance with great side characters and absolutely hilarious and endearing moments. One of my favorites from him. At number 2, we have probably a more unpopular pick for his movies, and that is The Cable Guy. My absolute favorite flat-out comedy by him, directed by Ben Stiller. It's a dark-ass comedy that's kind of like the single white female approach, but dressed up as a dark comedy with Jim Carrey as the socially inept cable guy who latches onto Matthew Broderick after he shows him even a glimpse of hope of a friendship. This is just such a funny movie that goes into so many fucked up places. Like getting Matthew Broderick to hook up with a prostitute, getting Matthew Broderick arrested, kidnapping Leslie Mann, even beating the shit out of Owen Wilson at a restaurant bathroom while he's scatting. It has some great social commentary on absent parenting and allowing people to be raised by media and movies and TV. The medieval battle scene is great. The running subplot with Ben Stiller as this twin on trial for murder that's kind of commenting on the Menendez brothers court case that was highly publicized. You get some early Jack Black. This is probably too dark of a movie for a lot of people, and I totally understand that, but this has just always been one of my favorites, even as a kid. I don't know what that says about me, though. It's just fucked up and wild and an absolute blast of a movie. It feels like a movie made specifically for me. But at number 1, we have The Truman Show. And I'm guessing this is probably a popular pick for most people as his number 1 movie, and there is a reason for that. It's got such a wild, ahead-of-its-time premise as this seemingly normal guy who slowly finds out that his entire life is a reality TV show. It does have some funny moments, but I like that Jim Carrey's a lot more restrained and he's not his usual over-the-top manic energy. He actually feels like a real person here. And with it, it brings a lot of great human character moments and a lot of emotional drama with it. You really feel for him as his whole life flips upside down, finding out that his wife isn't who he thinks she was. His best friend, is that really your best friend? Even your own mother on the show, it's just crazy as he tries to figure out what's going on and finding out that he can't really trust people, even people that he loved. The only person that he can kind of rely on is this girl he is obsessed with that he met in high school who actually tried to warn him about the reality of things. It's just got such a great, fascinating concept. It's got a great cast. It's got some great moments. There's still some laughs to be had, but it's not a flat-out comedy. It's more of a character study. It's just a truly sweet and heartwarming story. It always puts a smile on my face. I love the mystery as he starts peeling back more and more of these layers. I like how Ed Harris can just control the entire world of Truman. Like, the entire environment, the weather, he can change anything. It's funny, it's sad, it's sweet, it is absolutely magnificent, and it is 100% my favorite Jim Carrey movie of all time. And that's my list. Tried to make it as short and sweet as possible for you today. Thank you all for watching. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Go down to the comments below and let me know what some of your favorite Jim Carrey movies are, and I will see you guys next time. But until then, take care, stay safe.